and welcome to Cahnmann's Current Events Roundtable. And this is another segment of a show that we just did last month, and we're going to be continuing our show for the following month because I couldn't let these guys go. They are terrific. I got 2 Democrats on one side, 2 Republicans on the other side, and actually they're getting along. There's no fighting and a little disputing, but I think this is great. I think we could solve politics this way.
Right.
And I just want to say something I want to talk about, in fact, I got to introduce you first. Ron Montegna,
Hi.
Former Marketing Director of Montgomery Ward. Irv Drobnay, our attorney. Iewin Rosen, another attorney. I got 2 attorneys on both sides. And Minoff, who is the former executive and corporate strategy and mergers and acquisitions. I did it. I said it right. Okay, welcome, you guys. I'm glad you came back to the show. I just want to do an introduction from, this is a great one, Politics Without Politicians by Aki, A-K-I, Or, who is an Israeli writer and political activist. And he says, no political system can cure all political problems. Belief in such a cure is a dangerous delusion. There is no cure. Abolishing power will solve many political problems, but not all. When every citizen can propose, debate, and vote on every policy, no one has the authority to decide for others. So politicians' power is abolished. Political power works like a drug. Those who get it in any state, church, municipality, school, or family become addicted to it. They should be treated like addicts who do anything to get the drug. Many politicians crave power for its own sake, but even the few who use it is to improve society, will do anything to hold it. Oh my God, that is a mouthful. And it says, politicians represent others. Authority to decide for others is power, and it is power, not politics, that breeds corruption.
Could I start?
Oh my goodness. This is a mouthful. So I think you got your hand up.
All right, let me start.
Yes,
okay.
Start.
I'm going to go back. As a liberal, I'm going to go in a conservative view and look back at our country's history and say, would Madison agree with that? Would Adams agree with that? And I agree with the shaking of your head. I think both sides of our table here would agree that politics can be wonderful. Can be. Okay, is it now? I don't know. I think that we could say that what we need to do is kind of go back and capture the spirit that both sides have lost of what formed this country. And I
think, Ron, I was going to say the question before you asked it. Is there a disconnect between the people and Washington?
There may be, but that's also a failure of leadership at the top, and I'll put that in currently in Obama's camp because he is the president. I think part of his job is to use the bully pulpit to kind of pull what he can together.
Like Clinton. Clinton
was more skillful.
President Clinton seemed to...
Let me
I just want to ask you something.
Yeah.
President Clinton, somehow he attracted not only his Democratic Party, but he attracted Republicans as well. What did he do, and how did he do it? Oh, I got more hands up here. I can't believe I feel like you have to hold your thought.
Okay, go ahead.
How did he do it where somehow President Obama is having difficulty? I don't say he can't do it because there's no such word as can't. Why is he having difficulty?
President Clinton was elected in '92. In '94 elections, he got slapped down, and then he moved much more to the center.
Correct.
And in conjunction, on a bipartisan basis, they passed welfare reform and some other very significant things that were supposed to be enormous disasters from the viewpoint of the liberal left, and didn't turn out to be that way. When President Obama underwent the same experience, getting elected in a very strong election in 2008, and having the filibuster-proof majorities in the Senate, and he owned the House, what did he do the next 2 years? He rammed through an extremely unpopular program with the stimulus and Obamacare, and he could care less what the Republicans thought. Not one Republican vote for those programs. He said, I won the election, I won, you know, I got the power, I got the spoils. He got slapped down big time in 2010, and what did he do? He doubled down. More of the same policies. Obamacare, whether or not it's upheld in full, in part, or repealed, is very unpopular with the people, and the stimulus, obviously, a reasoned observer would realize that it has failed. Unemployment didn't go down. We have $6 trillion, that's with a T, of new debt, and we're printing 40 cents on the dollar for spending. Because he was not willing to work with the other side. He was going to do it his way, and hopefully, whether he's reelected, in conjunction with my colleague over here, or President Romney becomes president, I think it's incumbent upon either man to work with the Congress for Senator Reid to start passing a budget, hasn't done it in 3.5 years, working with his own president, working together.
Okay, let me first go back to the left, and then we'll go back to the right. So I want to do this. So
we should have switched chairs.
Yes, yes. And I'm independent. I'm right in the middle. So I will. And everyone knows that my parents were Democrats, and my grandfather was a Republican committeeman. So when I say I'm independent, that's how I was trained. Okay.
Some of my best friends are Republicans.
So I've always been split in my vote. Okay.
I have to agree.
And then we'll go with Irwin.
No.
And
Irv.
I'm a student.
Irwin.
I'll be
I'm
next.
a student of politics, being a political science minor also. I've studied other presidents who had trouble passing legislation. I'll cite to you President Lyndon Johnson after Kennedy's assassination. 2 bills that were extremely unpopular, that were going to be legacies of President Kennedy, were the Civil Rights Bill and the Medicare bill. And he knew he couldn't win without the support of the Republicans. A guy by the name of Dirksen. Remember him?
Sure.
Okay. Okay?
Yes.
Our cords are coming up.
He romanced Dirksen, who romanced the Republicans, and was able to pass those 2 major pieces of legislation. You may not like the pieces of legislation, but I'm talking from a political process. He was very successful in that. Clinton also. You may not like him personally, but he was a brilliant politician. He knew how to move the Republicans into a compromise where he could claim success. And I'm in agreement with you regarding Obama.
Let me just ask you, do you think that President Clinton is helping President Obama, or is he, because his viewpoints have been right in the center again. He has come out for Bain Capital. He says that, you know, this is good for the country. And then what is his, what do you make of this?
I think President Clinton is trying to point Obama in the correct direction, to be honest with you. Okay. I think we can all agree with that at this table. At this point in time, I think the major issue is Obama a leader who wants to solve problems by reaching across the aisle and talking to the other people who are trying to govern this country, or is he a politician who likes and a politician who is an ideologue, as Alan has said? He has a certain view, in my estimation, of what he would like this country to look like. And he's having difficulty moving off of that view. President Clinton wasn't like that. Even President Bush was not like that. Neither one, 41 or 43, neither one was like that. President Kennedy wasn't like that. But Obama has a very, very left view of where he would like this country to go. He has stated, and we'll get to you in a minute, Ron, he has stated that he feels, all right, we should be more like Europe. What's going on in Europe now? They're socialistic democratic republics. All of 99% of them going broke and having economic problems. Why? Because their countries have become too socialistic. The pendulum, wait a minute, Suzanne. The pendulum swings, all right, the pendulum swings all the time. We swing from taking care of people, which is somewhat socialistic and progressive, to supporting people with jobs, all right, which is more on the Republican side. The pendulum now has swung so far in this world to the left that every country is having problems. So we need somebody who can bring the country more to the center. And if you think President Obama is the man who can bring this country to the center, from the way he has been governing over the past 3 years, then you'll vote for him.
Okay.
I'm not
let
going to
me, let me add this before you run. Okay, I want to get right now. We're going to be getting passed in just a few days from now the health care bill. Okay, I know that this program is going to probably come on after the bill gets settled, but I want to get your idea of how do you think that Congress is going to hand down the ruling? Do you think that
You mean the Supreme Court?
Did I say Congress?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank
But
you.
we're watching you.
That's right. It must have been something. The Supreme Court will be ruling and handing down any day now. So, is it going to be, what will it mean for President Obama if he loses? What will it mean if he wins for Governor Romney? So I like your voices on this,
Okay.
and I want to hear what you have to say. And also, will it be, if it isn't the full, is it going to be fully, is it going to be ruled fully constitutional? Will it be entirely ruled that the law will be ruled unconstitutional, or will it just be that the mandate will be gone? I want to get your viewpoint on what you think about this health care bill.
All right,
Let's start.
Let me start.
We'll start with Ron.
First, a quick comment on what Irwin said with respect to socialism and Obama. Under that criteria, then President Reagan would be very much a socialist. And I think we'd have to understand that, that his policies and approach and what he tried to do was so very similar to Obama's in that respect. Okay, let me just
Let's
finish.
get into the health care.
Let me finish.
I got to get these guys focused right now.
And his ability to compromise and his ability to
Yeah.
raise taxes on what he needed to do without a Norquist pledge getting in the way of it. But back to what's happening
the
here,
health care.
okay?
Yes, I want to hear
I don't
about
know
that
what's
from
going to
your
happen, but we're going to be left with the following set of circumstances regardless of what happens, okay? And that is people who are currently getting health coverage, even though they have pre-existing conditions, they're going to want to continue that. Now, how that happens, it may happen because they're going to pass the bill, or it may happen because some action will need to be taken by Congress in order to address this. So I think both sides. Well, then there's others too. The donut hole that will now not be filled for seniors. The fact that individuals who, well, all of the parts of the Obamacare, which could go away if it totally gets killed, need to be addressed, and those are important. The American public doesn't like Obamacare, and they did a terrible job, the administration.
And I have to add
it.
right now that you're a Democrat, correct?
Right.
And okay, so
they did a terrible job of marketing it,
yeah, okay.
and the Republicans.
You're in the marketing field,
correct.
right?
The Republicans did an excellent job of sensing that there was confusion, which there was.
How many pages was there?
2,300.
2,300. No one read it, and
3
they
o'clock in the morning.
exactly.
Right.
One day of the
So if you would have marketed this bill, and I know if it was,
I don't want to take time.
I just want to say, but I'm not a marketer. I'm not into marketing. But to me, what I would have done was just taken one thing, pre-existing conditions, and that's all he had to run with. And I think people would have been accepting of the one
here
thing.
is the dilemma for both sides.
So how would you have marketed this?
But it doesn't matter because
I want to hear your opinion, Ryan.
Okay, I think they did a terrible job. They should have focused on the parts that were pluses. They could have emphasized those, and then by now people would say, well, wait a minute. I can't drop that because if I do, then this is going to happen to my kids. This is what's going to happen. And then what about all the people that go that we pay for now that go into emergency wards that don't have insurance?
Exactly.
So now
that's really costing
that isn't going to go away.
Your state's a lot of money.
And it's a Democrat. It's not a Democratic. It's a Republican problem as much as it is a Democratic problem. And the person that we're keeping out of this equation is what is Romney's point of view on this? What will Romney do in the way of leadership, and will he be allowed to do anything because he is restricted by his leadership group signing the Norquist pledge that says no compromise?
Let's go to the other side now. I think we got to stop the Norquist.
Stop with the Norquist pledge.
Talk about the Norquist pledge anymore.
Because I want to get into that if he's going to talk about it.
Is to restructure 1/6 of the American economy. I don't think the proper way for any national leader, or as in a process point of view, is in a few weeks after you get this political mandate to ram it through Congress, drafted in the middle of the night, 2,300 pages, nobody knows what's in it. And what the skillful politician and leader would do, who has the first 2 years of his term, that's usually when you get the big stuff done, was build a consensus, be making important speeches all over the country, having his senators and his congressmen making speeches on this issue to really hash it out. So there should be a long, extensive debate and then long hearings in the Congress. And
Don't you think it should have been hashed out also with doctors and surgeons
all
and medical before
everybody
it went
gets
on?
to throw their 2 cents in. If the whole thing's overturned, which we have no idea what's going to happen, I think with respect to the Republicans, it may be a little like the dog that catches the car. You know, now you got it, you're not sure what to do with it.
Good analogy.
Nothing is obviously going to happen in this 3 months or so before the election. There's no time. There may be some short-term temporary fixes to kick the can down the road to the next president and the next Congress.
So, Ellen, you don't think that by they said in a few days from now they're going to make a decision? So you think the decision's going to be very minor?
No, I don't know. No, I'm not. That's all I'm saying.
He's not saying that.
I'm saying I don't know whether the decision is overturn, uphold, or some muddle in the middle.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay, make a prediction.
And now you can hold me to it when it occurs.
Okay, we got you.
I think the Supreme Court reads the pulse of the American people. I think they don't want a 5-4 decision on the entire act because that would too much politicize it. My prediction is they're going to uphold some of the act, maybe even most of the act, except the one part of the act that requires you said the word.
I like that prediction.
What?
I think that's a good. I think that's a very prescient.
And I think that is going to be the most practical prediction, and we'll see in a couple of weeks.
Irwin, what do you think?
The problem is that if they don't uphold the mandate, then you have the usual problem of who's going to pay for this thing. Mm-hmm. We have 2,300 pages that Nancy Pelosi said we had to pass in order to understand what's in there, right. And I hear she's still reading right now. Right. Because nobody, prior to the time that they passed this thing, had time to read 2,300 pages, debate it, and to totally get on the table what should have been on the table. I think it was done in a way, I hate to say it this way because we're around Chicago, the Chicago way. Mm-hmm. We're going to muscle it through, and we don't care if anybody likes it. This is what we want because this is my vision.
Okay, let me ask the question.
What we're going to hear.
Okay, wait 1 second. Look, I want the next question to follow through as a segue into the next question. Mm-hmm. What will it mean for President Obama if he loses? What will it mean for Governor Romney if it loses?
Are you talking about the
total health care bill if it gets overturned?
Let me say that as a marketing guy, 75% of America already expects the mandate to go away. Okay, there is 3/4 of America is already built into it. They would be shocked if the Supreme Court upholds the important parts of it.
What if it's proven?
It would be a huge win.
What would be if it was what they expected? Okay, what would it be if it was overturned? It would be completely, besides the mandate, unconstitutional.
He'll take a political hit, and that hit will last so long as it now comes out in the press and everyone else that says, by the way, seniors, now your health care issue of the donut hole comes back. It isn't filled. And now those with pre-existing conditions, you have a problem. And those of you who thought your children that were 25 and younger are now going to be covered, they're no longer covered. When that hits, that will suddenly strike home, and that will then put the good analogy that Alan said, which is now we've got the dog catching the car. What do we do about it?
Okay,
but I want to ask.
Okay, now let's answer the question. I'm going to do unconstitutional, and then I'm going to do constitutionally.
I want to pick up on Irv's point. I think it's very important. If we're hypothesizing,
these guys sound like politicians. They don't answer the question.
On the overturn.
I
think it's very important.
Yes,
for example, if it's a 5-4 overturn, I think that the Obama forces will paint this as a political decision, and it's the same bad same bad political decision. And I really support that. If I was John Roberts, I really don't want a 5-4 overturn because that will tear the country apart.
You guys are right.
And it may well be that they will let some of it go through to get 6-3 or even 7-2 or 9-0. You know, when the civil rights, the first Brown came
Alan,
down,
not
9-0.
Not with Scalia and Thomas.
No, I'm saying when
Okay.
Brown came down 9-0,
even
that was the end
even
of the
6-3
end of
would
the
be-
discussion.
right.
End of the discussion. And if we get even 6-3
Agreed.
makes it can't be painted as just political. The old, you know, everybody voted like we expected. So I think that's very important, and that may well be why they put off the decision to the last possible minute, because they're still in there
Okay.
wrestling.
Now, what would it be for Governor Romney if it becomes constitutional?
Completely overturned.
No, not completely overturned. We've talked about overturning
He's the
for
dog
Obama.
chasing the
Just
car.
the other way around.
Okay.
What is Romney going to do?
I think if it's overturned right now, and
Yeah.
they have the campaign to run, Romney is faced with the dilemma, same dilemma as the immigration dilemma,
Right.
where Obama went around the Congress and he says, I don't need democracy, I'm just going to rule by decree.
Right.
And the Supreme Court gets to rule by decree, that is our system. He will have to tread very carefully, Governor Romney, in the campaign to support the popular things. Keep in mind that paying for everybody wants everything. We'd all love to drive Ferraris, but we can't all afford them. You know, he will have to keep in mind who's going to pay for everything, and you know, promise something that when I'm president, working with the new Congress, we will craft a new bill
Okay.
which answers objections to
But,
the
but
old.
Alan and Irwin, you guys have to answer this question. You really do. And I'm going to bring it up again. I've had several times. This Norquist pledge. Well, let me finish. I don't see how a Romney can effectively marshal the support that is needed to do the necessary compromise, unless
But
either
a
are
pledge is a
let me
pledge.
finish. If
A ple-
either
a pledge is a
let me-
pledge, though,
let me ask
not a
them.
law.
Unless you're telling me that it's more important to hold to the pledge than it is to compromise in any way on taxes.
To address
Okay.
that, I would say that Obamacare as structured is an enormous transfer of wealth from the young population, young healthy population, to subsidizing seniors. That's what Obamacare is. That's what the mandate
You're
does.
not answering the question that I've
I'm
asked.
not-
which is,
I'm not
how
saying
are we
that.
going
Ron, we got to get off the North.
They're not
We got to get off
compromi-
there.
they're
Yeah,
unwilling
yeah.
to
I have a
compromise.
question
Yeah, okay.
for you.
No,
Okay.
I want to talk about the Norquist.
You want to
Let
talk
her
about
go.
it?
I definitely
Okay, we're
want to
gonna
talk
get
about the
last.
Norquist.
We don't want to hear
Okay.
about it
I'm
anymore.
tired of talking about
We'll
Norquist.
give you the last.
I'm tired
Okay.
of talking about Norquist.
We'll talk about
First,
compromise.
let's-
Forget Norquist.
Yes, let's talk about compromise,
Okay.
please. Please, Ron, let me talk about compromise. I'm going to try.
Go ahead.
If we get ourselves a leader who can sit down in a room with both sides and work out problems, the Norquist pledge will disappear. That is my prediction. You're going to keep going back to the Norquist pledge because we
I
don't.
wanna get-
Wait
I
a second,
hope it
Ron.
happens.
Wait a second, Ron. You keep going to the Norquist pledge because at this point in time, we do not have a leader who has sat down in a room to work out problems. He just muscles through problems so that his view is what's important and the support of his view is important. That, to me, is worse than the Norquist pledge because he's not willing to sit down and work out problems as President Clinton was willing to do. So let's drop the Norquist pledge. That's nothing more than a crutch to say that our president
I agree.
should sit
Let's-
down and be a leader.
Okay.
Let's drop the
We're
Norquist pledge.
proposing Norquist, and I'm going
Okay,
back to
we're
my
go-
question
wait,
for
we're-
Alan.
Okay.
That's
I have
fine.
to ask this question.
Okay, and then we're going to the DREAM Act.
Yeah, you're a numbers man, right?
Yes, sir.
You're a CPA?
Guilty.
Okay. Whether, not guilty, it's fine.
Guilty as charged.
Whether you believe in a public funding or a private funding, the theory of insurance is to spread the risk
Yes.
about most of the population or the people within that particular pool to be able to assume the cost of the risk, right?
Yes,
Okay,
that's the theory
okay.
of insurance.
Okay, that's the theory of insurance,
Yes,
be
it
it
is.
public insurance or private insurance. How can you fund these other items that I talked about that I thought might be sustained without having some sort of a mandate, either by a private insurance company or a public, a governmental agency?
There are enormous things that could be done to make the provision of healthcare services, we're not necessarily talking about insurance, we want to talk about services, much, much more efficient. You know, when you go to the insurance side, why can't insurance be like every other, medical insurance, like every other insurance? You can shop all over the country for it. You don't have to buy from your own state. Most insurance, nobody insures their car for the first dollar. When the kid hits the baseball through your garage window, you don't call your insurance company. You call the glazier to come and fix the window. Medical insurance, people think medical care is free. There's nothing free but the cheese in the rat trap. And people have to think differently about medical care and insure against catastrophic insurance, absolutely, just like what most insurance should be.
Okay, I'm going to get to the DREAM Act. Remember, this is my show, guys. Sometimes I don't think it's my show. Okay, the DREAM Act, and I just wanted, for our viewers, the DREAM Act is, if you are a child of an illegal immigrant and you go to school or you join the military, you are on a path for citizenship. The question is, will this encourage illegal immigration in the future? And is this a short-term fix for a long-term problem? So I want to get to the DREAM Act. We only have about 4 minutes left, and we're going to solve the DREAM Act in 4 minutes.
Okay,
let's hear it.
No and yes.
No and yes, okay.
Because no, that I don't think that, what was the first part of your question?
The first part, will this encourage illegal immigration in the future?
No, I don't think it will.
And remember, when they say join the military, join the military is usually 4 years. I found out this is only for 2 years.
Right.
Okay, it's a short-term fix.
For a long-term problem.
And it's a brilliant political move by Obama that puts Romney in a bad spot because of his... No, but he's asked for the DREAM Act, and the Republicans in Congress have blocked the DREAM Act, okay? And I guess I'm just going to go to a generic thing.
But he enforced the granting work permits for illegals, too. He's also enforced work permits for illegals. These are called illegals, not legals.
America thinks Obama's on the right side of this issue. And if you were going to look at voters, it is a brilliant political move, and it helps him. And all Romney can do is change the topic because of how stridently he ran. Now, here, I just want to make one comment. If you look back many years ago, what occurred was people came to America. They didn't ask for permission. Yeah. They came and they tried to better themselves, and we call them pilgrims.
Yeah, but they came here. They came in legally through the immigration.
No, ask the Native Americans about that. They didn't come in legally. They came because there was opportunity. They saw it and they seized it.
Okay, we're going to give you another word because we have a system. We have only how many more minutes?
2 minutes.
We have only about a minute more.
We have a system of government where the Congress makes the laws.
Right.
Okay, at this point in time, President Obama has become King Obama in that he has made an edict in regard to a small part of the DREAM Act. All right? Now, if you think about it, he's complicating the problem because all of a sudden we're going to have a class of people that are steadfast in something that is not yet the law. The Congress makes the laws in this country, unless I'm very mistaken, and the President's job is to uphold and support those laws and make sure that they're fulfilled. President Obama sees this nation totally differently than our founders of the Constitution had planned and the way we have done it for many, many years. And it's for politics. Think about it. He's trying to get the Latino vote. That's what he's trying to do. So what President Obama has done isn't for the people so much, it's for himself to get reelected.
But the people
think about it.
Make another prediction.
Okay, make another prediction. You're good about predictions.
Here we go.
Okay, here we are.
This issue will become moot as the economic situation in the United States has softened. The fact of the matter is that many more Mexicans are illegal aliens are leaving the United States than coming into the United States. They came here for economic opportunities. They don't exist anymore, so they'll go away. And this issue will not be an issue after the election.
Thank you. I see our credits are going down. And again, I hate to stop you in the middle of such a wonderful discussion we need to finish. I'll probably have to ask all of you back for another show. I want to thank all of you again. Ron Montegna.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Irv Drobnay. Iewin Rosen. And Alan Minoff for a wonderful discussion. I cannot believe that, you guys, I can continue on this for hours. And, I think you'll all still have amazing viewpoints.